Everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful interactive carousel using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You will be able to scroll with your mouse wheel, drag with your mouse or touch, and even click on an item to jump to it. Let's get started. HTML, first we start with a div class carousel, which is our main container for the carousel. Inside this container we create multiple div class carousel item elements. Each one represent a single slider. Inside each carousel item, we create another div with the class carousel box. This is the inner container that hold our slide content. In the carousel box, we add a div class title to display the city name and a div class number to display the slide number. Below this text element, we insert an image tag for the city image and set the source attribute to the image URL. This pattern repeats for each slide in our carousel, changing the title number and image source each time. Further, we create two more div elements with the class cursor, and the second one also has cursor too. These two div will be used to create a custom mouse cursor effect. We begin our CSS by targeting all elements using the universal selector and setting both margin and padding to 0, so there is no default spacing from the browser. For the body element, we set overflow to hidden to no scroll bar appear, then choose a font family Time New Roman to give our text a classic look. We also add a linear gradient background that goes at a 135-degree angle from black to a dark green shade. So we style the carousel class, making its position relative so its child element can be absolutely positioned within it. We give it a z-index of 1 so it appears above the background, set its height to 100 VH to fill the full viewport height, hide overflow to keep constant inside, and set pointer event none so the container itself does not block interaction with the slides. Carousel item, we define several CSS variables such as item for the total number of slides, width and height for size control using the clamp function, so it scales between minimum and maximum values, and transformation like x, y and root to position and rotate slide based on which one is active. The opacity variable is calculated based on the z-index so distance slide fade out. We set overflow hidden to hide anything spilling out, position absolute to place slide freely, and z-index variable so active slides appear on top. We center them using top 50 and left 50% along with negative margin based on their height and width. The border radius 10 pixel gives rounded corners. User select none prevents text selection and transform origin. Set the rotation pivot point. We also add a subtle shadow with box shadow. Set the background to black and restore so slide can be clicked. Finally, we apply a transformation using our CSS variable and a smooth transition for movement. Each carousel item carousel box is positioned absolutely to cover the whole slide with a z-index of 1 so it stays on top of the image. We add a transition for opacity to make slide fade smoothly, and we set opacity so it changes based on position. The font family is Arello for a stylish look. In carousel box, before we create a gradient overlay that fades from slight transparent black at the top, become fully transparent in the middle, and then darker at the bottom to improve text visibility. Title class position the city name at the bottom left of the slide with bottom 20 pixel and left 20 pixel. The color is white and the font size is set using clamp so it adapts to screen size. We also give it a text shadow for better readability. Similarly, the number class is positioned at the top left with top 10 pixel and left 20 pixel, white color and a much larger font size using clamp. Image inside carousel item image, we set the width and height to 100% so they fill the slide. Use object fit cover to maintain the image aspect ratio while covering the whole box, and disable pointer events so they don't interfere with clicking. Class is position fixed at the top left corner with a z-index of 10. We use a custom CSS variable size set to 40 pixel for the outer circle size. Make it perfectly round with border radius 50% and outline it with a 1 pixel solid white border. We center it on the mouse using negative margin and apply a smooth transition for movement. It's hidden by default with display none and set to ignore pointer event so it never block click. In the @media pointer find rule, we set cursor to display block so it only shows on device with a precise pointer like a mouse. Finally, cursor to is a second cursor layer with a much smaller size using size 2 pixel and a slightly different transition duration of 0.7 second, creating a tailing cursor effect behind the main circle. We begin by declaring that progress is equal to 50, which represents the current scroll position of the carousel as a percentage from 0 to 100, starting at 50 places as roughly in the middle. Next, let start x is equal to 0 store the horizontal coordinate at the moment a drag begins so we can measure how far the mouse or finger moves. Then let active is equal to 0 will hold the index of the currently focused slide derived from progress. After that, let is down is equal to false is a flag indicating whether the user is currently dragging. We define two unique constant speed wheel is equal to 0.02 to control how sensitive the carousel is the mouse wheel, and constant speed drag is equal to -0.1 to control drag sensitivity. The negative sign flip the direction so dragging left advances forward. Find a helper function constant get z index is equal to array index This function receives an array of slide and the active index, then return a list of the index value where the active slide get the highest stacking order and the other decreases as they get further away. It uses math.abs index minus I to compute distance from the active one and gives the active element array.length for the topmost layer. Query the DOM with constant item is equal to document.query selector all.carousel item to get a node list of all slide and constant cursor is equal to document.query selector all to get both custom cursor element. These referencing let us update style and attach behavior to the slide and cursor. Constant display item is equal to item index active, a function that handles per slide styling. Inside we compute constant z index is equal to get z index, the spread convert the node list to a real array for get z index. And we pick the z index value matching the current slide. We then set two custom CSS property in the slide item.style.set property z index to control stacking and item.style.set property active index active to store a normalized position offset relative to the active slide. This value feeds into the CSS to calculate each slide translation, rotation, and opacity. And constant animate to update the whole carousel whenever the progress changes. First, we clamp the progress with progress is equal to math.max, so it never goes outside the 0 to 100 range. We then compute the focus slide with active is equal to math.floor progress by 100, mapping the percentage to an index from 0 to the last slide. Finally, we loop over all slide with item.for each, so each slide CSS variable are updated in one pass. We call animate one slide after defining it to initialize the layout based on the starting progress. Attach a click handler to each slide with item.for each, item.add event listener when a slide is clicked. We convert its index I to a percentage position and add a small offset. To bias the active slide slightly forward for a more pleasing focus, then we call animate to refresh the view. To implement scroll behavior with constant handle wheel is equal to E, the delta y value from the wheel event tell us how much the user scrolled, multiplying by a speed wheel converts that our progress scale. We add it to progress and then render. Pointer movement with constant handle mouse move is equal to E if the event type is mouse move. We move both custom cursor element by setting transform translate so they follow the pointer smoothly. If is down is false, we return early because there is no drag in progress. When dragging, we read the current x coordinate using e.clientx for mouse or e.touches.clientx for touch, falling back to 0 if unavailable. We compute constant mouse progress is equal to x start x to convert the horizontal delta into a progress change. Add it to progress, update start x is equal to x for the next frame and call animate to reflect the new position. For a drag with constant handle mouse down, this set is down to true and record the x position at the start of the gesture for later data calculation. We end the drag with constant handle mouse up, which simply flip the flag so movement no longer changes progress. Finally, wire up the event at the document level so interaction work anywhere on the page. We listen to mouse wheel for scrolling, mouse down to start dragging, mouse move to update the cursor and drag, and mouse up to end dragging. For touch devices, we mirror the same pattern with touch start, touch move, and touch end, all pointing to the same handler so the logic is shared between mouse and touch. With these listeners in place, the browser responds to wheel input, dragging, click, and keep the custom cursor in sync with pointed movement. There you have it, a fully functional interactive carousel with scroll, drag, and click support. You can easily customize it by changing the image's title and color in the CSS. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome projects. See you next time.